Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Christy. If you are new here, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. And if you're returning Team Spurs, thanks for being here. You know you're amazing and I love you. You know I love you, right? Thanks. So today I have Flookie then in the building. Flookie then is also a Nigerian YouTuber based here in Saskatoon. And guys, you know that one of the things we say we are going to be doing this year is, bring more people to the channel, It's not just Christy that should be talking. There should be other people, that can come and share from their wealth of experience and, all that. And that's why Flookie then is here. Flookie then, can you just introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Flookie. It's a YouTube channel, Flookie's Den, and I'm also a Nigerian
Check out the
YouTuber
channel.
here in Saskatoon, and I'm happy to be here. So let's ride on.
We are glad to have you. So if you can see, I'm in Flookie's then house. And yes, if you see that the setting is different from what you are used to, this is Flookie Den's house, and it is a beautiful. I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to be making this connection and all. And yeah, I'll be linking our channel in the description box. I'll also be putting in a comment and pinning it, and so you should check out our channel. Everything Saskatoon. You want to know what's happening in Saskatoon? Go check Flookie's Den's channel. You'll find a lot of things to learn about Saskatoon. So today we are going to be talking about parenting. So Flookie then has teenagers, and here we have with the toddlers and all. And one of the fears coming to Canada is there are a lot of. I know that in Nigeria, when you are correcting your child, another person is also saying, and stop beating the child, but they are also facing the child to say, you too, don't do like that again. But here, you are almost afraid to discipline your child, correct your child and all that. And the fact that you have teenage, and she was talking about the reason I decided to do this video actually is because she was talking about her YouTube channel, and she was saying her children helps her set up, tell her, okay, this is what the angle and all that. And I was like, oh, that means you have children that actually are interested in what you. Lots of children don't want to know what's my business with what you are doing and all that. So that means you've been able to create like that friendship, that relationship with your kids, and we want to learn from you. We have, and that's one of the fears, like children, how to raise children in this land.
It's really tough. It's really tough.
Let's start from, how long have you been here?
Yes, I've been here 3 years and a few months, and I'm still learning. Parenting is not. It's not a one-day thing, and everybody keeps learning. As your children begin to grow into one stage or the other, you have to keep learning and finding ways in which to help them and also help yourself.
That's true.
Like the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he grows, he will not depart from it. So it's very important, first and foremost, to train those children up in the way of the Lord. And that's been our backbone. That's been what we've rested on for so many years that we've been married. I've been married for 20 years now. And don't worry.
That's times 2 of how long have you been married.
But it's always been a journey. It's always still a process. And the best thing that also can happen to anybody is to know your children, understand them. I have 2 children. One is going to be 20. One is going to be 16.
Guys, 20 years.
This year. And they are 2 different people. And I know that even me, being a twin, I have a twin brother. We grew up even though we were different. And one thing parents should realize is that you don't compare 2 children, because it also demotivates or makes the other person feel less. One can be good in one area, the other person still can be good in another area.
That's true.
So what you should do is to leverage on those strengths
areas,
and begin to harness both of them. So for both of them, it's been a journey. It's been a lot of discovery and understanding their temperaments as well, and how to help them and help, everything is still coming back to the family, at least since they are still here.
So you've been here 3 years. That means your kids have been teenagers before you got here.
Yes.
So looking at training them in Nigeria and here, is there any difference? Like, is there anything you can say you miss about raising your children in Nigeria that you are not getting here?
I would say no, because I would say maybe because my children are teenagers. Although I know teenager, that age comes with a lot of responsibility as well. But for my son, he was about 15, 16, no, even more than that, minus 3 years.
Like 17?
Yeah, when we got here. So he was already matured. He is more matured, even in thinking, in attitude. So I really don't have a problem with him. But not that I have a problem with my daughter, but she was transiting into that teenage
Yeah,
year
that
when we
teenage
got
year,
there.
yeah.
So it's a transformation for her, and then coming into a society like Canada, and
That say if your parents do something, you can call 911.
so you have to keep educating, keep making them understand. But they know those tricks or the things that we say. I know that people say right now you can't deceive a child and say, "I'll send you back to Nigeria." They are wiser than you now. They'll tell
Exactly.
you it's not true.
I think you can even still maybe use that to scare
Maybe
because
a
my
very young
oldest
child.
is 8 years old. He will be 9 this year, and my youngest is 3. I think you can still use that to scare those ones.
Yeah, but not
Teenagers,
no.
ha!
They know. They
They
already
know that
know.
you cannot just send them back.
Because I always tease my daughter. I'll tell her, I say, I'll send her to my mother-in-law's place
In
in
Nigeria.
Ijebode,
Oh gosh.
and then she will go there. When she's now well set, she will come back. She said, okay.
That's for your pocket.
But the main thing is to continue, communicating with them, understanding their concern, let them understand where you're also coming from, because discipline, even like the Bible says, is not palatable to anybody.
Yeah, but
Nobody
the
likes to be
result is, yeah.
disciplined, but it's the end result that we're always considering. And we need to also let them know constantly that this is why. We're in a society that
Why?
is so different from where we are coming from. Most of the children, they are coming in as teenagers or even younger than teenagers. They transit easily. You see them at some point, their tongue begin to twist. The way they behave begin to conform to the way of the Canadians.
Yeah.
And then you feel you are losing them, or you feel, what's going on? Did I make a
Sometimes it's
mistake
difficult
of
to
bringing
understand them.
them?
Now, even we just been here for a year and some months, and especially my daughter. For my son, sometimes when he's with his friends, because I think he came here a bit old, yeah, of course, a bit older than when he's with his friends, he speaks the phonetics.
Yeah.
But when he's at home with us, he speaks our normal
That's
Niger.
my
But
daughter for you.
my daughter is, she was speaking with someone on the phone, like from Nigeria, and the person was finding it hard to understand what she was saying. I was like, I heard my youngest to be the worst.
Yes,
In
he
terms
will be.
of,
Sure, as they integrate better, you'll find out that even you might
I might
struggle
to
to
understand.
understand them. And that's the society. We know before we brought them. But, it's just difficult to, just
Okay,
take that
so
in.
coming from where we just, you said there's no much difference between you're raising them in Nigeria and now that you are here.
Yeah.
So what is the place of community? Because I know that community is what really helps parents in raising their kids, especially for maybe young ones where daycare and all that can be an issue. So what do you think is the place of community in bringing up a child that we don't seem to have a lot here? Because even if you say you have a community of your maybe church members, they are also, dealing with their own lives, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think is a place of community? And do we have such community here in Canada that can help you in raising your child?
Well, I have not found. I don't know if there is, but for community might just be people that like I have friends that we relate together. So maybe when we exchange visits and we see our children doing the wrong things, we can always,
That's
that's
correct.
African mentality
Yeah.
still comes in there, so that we can correct, or like teenagers, for instance, they feel there's a particular way they behave, and then it's coming rude to their parents. So you have to caution them per time and let them know, even if some parents might just feel, let us leave them, but you can't afford to leave them. You can't let them be, because those little things build up, and when they become a disaster, you now say help when there's no
And
help
where's the
coming
help?
your way.
Where's the
So
help coming
we need to
from?
do that. So I don't see that, in Nigeria you find, in fact, the whole community, if you see your child doing wrong, somebody is
Exactly.
helping you to put that brain and reset it. But here people are really dealing with so many things.
And apart from that, I think people are also scared of, I don't know what this person's reaction will be if I correct their child.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the community of finding people that are really of like minds.
Like minds, yeah.
Yeah, because some people, you can correct somebody's child and the person will be like, who sent you message? Did I send you?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's about general training and all that. So one other thing that we are finding, I know it is not just me, people like that have kids my age, is when it comes to sex education.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are like, we don't know what age is the appropriate age to start, talking about what are the kind of things we can say. We don't like some. when I was thinking about very soon this is my child, baby, I'm like clueless about how do I start that conversation. What age is the appropriate age to start that sex education conversation?
Yeah.
How have you been able to get your 20-year-old is like
He's a grown man.
is a grown man.
Yeah. So sometimes, this when you talk about sex education, it's something that people shy away from talking
Exactly.
about, and you
It's
don't
not our
also
fault. We
want
don't know
to.
what to say.
Yes, I know we're also trying to be cautious because you
Mhm.
also don't want to. Even as my children, when we have to about some things, there's also that shyness of wanting to talk about it, but you still have to talk about it in different ways. Sometimes it might be in the grooming part of your body, or like my daughter, I remember, when she has to menstruate and all of that, she was going into the boarding school. I had to tell her, this is what you would expect. So when she had her, I think she had her first menses before she moved to Canada. She was in the boarding school. Then she was telling me all about what happened. This is what she did. This is and then how she was able to also help herself. And then within her class or her dorm, she had, teenagers her age, and they will always be able to talk to themselves. But personally, while they were growing into that age, there was this conversation. We would just be talking about it. This is what you should do. This is what you will expect. This is what comes from a man. This is what comes from a woman. You should not, when they also say
You go into this is what comes from you.
no, as in this is what to expect when you are beginning to grow into
Like what you should
maturity.
expect
What you should
from.
expect, the changes in your body.
Okay.
This is what you. I don't really talk to them that much about it
Deep. Okay.
anymore.
Okay.
But when they were getting into that stage, we were talking about it. Yeah, it's difficult to talk, but somehow you will chip it
It's
in and
guys,
begin
it is
to talk
difficult,
about
but
it.
we have to do it.
Yeah, because
It
if you
is.
don't, sometimes even in school here, they talk about it. So when my daughter, she talks a lot and she comes and says they did this, they said this. You also want to or correct some things that is being said, so that
Exactly.
they understand better why this is going on. Or in her conversations, they are talking about boys or girls or this. They are correcting some notion. It's in conversation. It might not be like, oh yeah, sit down here, let's talk sex. No, they will run away. They won't sit with you. So you will be in conversations or you're watching teenage programs with them, and this girl is doing this to this boy, and like, no, this is not the right thing to do. This is how to do it, or this is not the age to do it. Right now, you're supposed to be focusing on your education. And I know that here in Canada, I see people put the cart before the horse, as in relationships go before even
A lot of
education,
things. Relationship go before a lot of
which
things.
matters. That's why you see young teenage girls having children. People my age are already grandmas.
Yeah, grandmas.
And this is really uncalled for. So you need to educate your children. It's not about the children. We know what happens to people that have had children back at home.
Exactly.
They're almost like not even having people marry them, or it's like a destiny that they carry for themselves.
It's a big deal. Like, yeah, I know here it might not be like a big deal to say single mother or all that, but back home it is a big deal to say.
It's a shame. It's shameful, and you don't want that. You don't want something like
that. So talking about sex education and all, how do you address same-sex marriages, same-sex relationships? Because we know that's a thing here. And it is not in line with our culture. No matter how much we want to say we are Western people and all that, from our culture, no one would be glad that their child will come home and say, I'm a girl, I want to get married. Even though you have, it's just there. So how do you address, how do you talk to them about it,
Like I said, is in conversations. You don't want to make anybody uncomfortable talking about these things. So as much as they talk about it in schools, when we get feedbacks, we totally just say this is a no. This is not biblical. This is not, God has said is a man that will
Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Exactly, not Adam and Steve. So these are the things, and when even them, they know it's already something that they know. And I always say this, even in our house, it's something that has to do with making your foundation or your bedrock of God. When you build these children up and begin to nurture them in the way of the Lord, there's nothing that takes them away from that truth. No matter what they see outside, no matter what anybody tells them, even they come back and make jokes of those things because they know it's wrong, right? So it's
something I'm getting from this is foundation is very, very important.
Very important.
So you cannot come here and be like you're on the fence. Your children don't know what you stand for. It might be difficult to raise your children right if you yourself as a parent, you're not standing for something. And
Yes.
I think that's what I'm getting from, you have to, from the foundation, from their young age, they know, okay, so these
Yeah.
are, my mom is a Christian, and this is our belief
These are
as,
vices.
yeah,
This
this
is
is,
our rules of engagement. You see single moms all around the city. You see these are the things that go down their generation. If you see their
exactly.
children, they are single moms. Their children's children, they are single moms. Because that's it's like their belief system.
Yeah.
You can't, there's really nothing to make them change or move away from
They
that.
are not
Because
seeing anything
they are not
different.
seeing anything wrong with it. Exactly.
So yeah, another question I want to ask is, have you had any, the way they say teenage and their issues and all that, how do you manage teenage, say, is it tantrums or outbursts, or how do we call it? Like, have you had any time when your teenage child says, I want to have my way, and there is nothing you can do about it, or something? Like, have you had to deal with any, huge teenage issues with, and how did you navigate, if you have?
No, see, honestly, I would say we have been blessed by good children.
I am blessed too.
We have been blessed and we are proud of our children.
Wow.
Honestly, they've been source of examples to even other children. Because, I look at my children and how God has helped us raise them. And it's something of joy, of delight. The way people even come back with feedback behind their back, and we get those testimonies and we're like, yes, it is just God. So we are proud. So those things don't happen. Sometimes some things might, like I said, maybe my daughter, because of her own growing into those age here in Canada, she might be asking for some things or saying some things, and then we shut them. The African spirit is still here. Forget
It's
Canada.
oh, it's not God.
And she knows, even before she starts those tantrums, you see her dancing here, mom, this one, and she knows she's going rigmarole because she's knowing that, and she knows already that you can't fly.
There's a likely no that is coming here.
And sometimes too, you also have to give them space. I'll give an example, like when we newly moved to Canada, she's an extrovert. She's somebody that you can't really box her. You can't keep her in a shade. She always wants to go out. She wants to hang out with friends. She wants to just express herself, which is okay. Like I said, I have two different children.
Two different personalities.
Yeah, two different personalities. So we had to manage that, and we always will let her know. The time we moved in, it was still the COVID season, and everybody was careful. We won't let our child go into somebody's house. It was COVID season. We don't want any outbreak of anything. But she's not understanding that. We are not letting her make friends. We are not letting her mix. And we say, look, the one you are doing in school is enough for now. There's still time. We are not in Canada as a visitor.
Yeah, we are here
for the long haul. So as soon as COVID was winding down and people were interacting better, then we could, give her more leverage to do that. So sometimes she's going to her friend's house. Sometimes they're hanging out after school, and all of that. And it's just a way, it's a face by face thing. So we are not letting them out in the wild like that. That's not going to happen. And as much as they desire, children can ask for anything. They can desire anything. Like a Yoruba proverb says that you cannot be as old as your mother and have gray hair. You cannot be as wealthy, more wealthy than someone that's older than you and still have as much rags. And those rags, they call it wisdom. So those children don't know. They only see as much as they can see. And
they can only see their old school mommy and daddy.
And talk about the old school too. That one too is another trouble that we keep combating. But God's help has been, thus far has helped us to be able to help them as well. And also us too, we are learning. It's a new society. We're also trying to integrate, understand how things will also help them as well. Because it's not only about them. It's changes for them. It's changes for us as well. So as much as we are not totally throwing away our mentality or our background of raising children,
culture
our
and all that,
culture,
we are also having to embrace.
We have to be able to merge it so that we will help them. They are going to be growing up here. We didn't grow up here. We are already matured here.
So there are some things that might not work here.
Exactly.
There are some experiences you have that might not, have a place here and all that.
So you don't have to force it on
like
them.
Kneel down to greet your elders.
No, that's one.
Okay.
The respect is not about kneeling too, but
You know,
you
in Nigeria, is kneeling down.
No,
That's
still, look, you can teach your children to do that. We still tell them to, but yeah, but they still have to show that respect.
that gesture.
You must show the gesture. It's not about standing and greeting. No, it's not acceptable.
Good afternoon, ma.
Afternoon what? In fact, if any child, even as an African, for me, if I see an African child do this to me, I'm going to tell the child to stop it immediately, right there and there, because I will tell you, where are your manners? You are not Canadian. Respect begets respect. You shouldn't be doing that to somebody your mother's age. You can do that to your friends. I care less. Like I tell my daughter, I am not your friend. I am your mom. I am your mom. So you can't behave to me like you're behaving to your friend. Yes, we can relate. I'm trying to be your friend to understand. Sometimes you have to really come down to their level, see how they do things, understand, to also help them. But don't take it for granted, because sometimes it gets to their head. When it's getting to her head, I am pulling her back and saying, Auntie, I am your mom.
Hold up.
I am not your friend.
Yeah.
Those things
so
matter.
what I've gotten from this is, be your child's friend. And as much as you are trying to be their friend, also let them know that you are the parents.
Yes.
And being here, you have to, as much as you're trying to inculcate the African culture, you should also learn to, allow them, have the Canadian experience. Even though you have to, that African mentality, the culture still must not be thrown away. So finally, I'll ask, that you help us, if there's anyone watching this that feels like maybe they've made a mistake in their, in the way they have raised their children, and maybe they are like, for example, they are discovering that their children are wayward and all that. What's your advice for them? What do you think they can do to,
I would say live by example. You have to be the example your child would want to be. And like I said, parents that have broken homes, or parents that are raising single children, are also having children do the same. So children learn by example. So when they see you, they want to emulate, or they want to copy the things that you do.
So you cannot say one thing and do
you
the
can't
other.
say. So I would say the parents should look inward first. What kind of parent are you? How are you representing yourself to this child? You must replicate yourself. You must want your child to be the kind of person that you are, so that the child would always want to come back to you. Even if the child is facing something out there, the child should be able to come back to you and say, this is my experience. This is then you'll be able to correct the child. But if you are living the same kind of life, tell me how you want your child to live.
How do you correct? If you are doing drugs, how do you tell your child not to do drugs? Be the example. So this is for you. If you think you have made any mistake with your child, or you feel like your child is, maybe far gone, be the example. And something I've learned a lot from, this little conversation we had is God. Your foundation matters a lot in how your child is raised. Even as much as a lot of people are saying that when you go to Canada, your children, it's a risk, you are going to have to, risk raising spoiled children. But we have parents here that are raising really nice children, and Flookie is then right here.
Proud mom.
Is a proud mom. And we are glad to share from your wealth of experience. Thanks for being here today. We are glad to have you here. And yes, I said earlier, I'll be linking our channel in the description box and in the comments. So please check out our channel. She's amazing, amazing Saskatoon personality, So thanks guys for watching. Until we see you in the next video, have a beautiful life, guys. Bye.